Welcome to Strictly Salina. I'm your host, Marnie Maddock. Strictly Salina is a program that highlights nonprofit organizations in our area and upcoming events that they may be having. If you'd like to be on Strictly Salina, I encourage you to give Community Access a call. You can reach us at 823-2500. That's 823-2500. Well, today on the program, I am very blessed. I have a wonderful guest, and she is our first guest back at Strictly Salina. This is Miss Kaitlyn Schwartz, and you are the Volunteer and Development Coordinator for Big Brothers Big Sisters in Salina.
Yes.
Did I get it?
Yes.
Yay! That is a cool title.
Yes, it's very long, but it's good. It kind of encompasses everything in the job.
Well, that is awesome. How long have you been with the organization?
Well, about 2.5 years. I started as an intern, actually, and so I did my internship, and they loved the work I did. They felt like I was a good fit, so they asked me to work part-time, and it ended up turning into a full-time position.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Now, personally, in my time here in Salina, you can never not hear about Big Brothers Big Sisters. You guys are always having an event, raising awareness, just always doing so many great things. I mean, how do you guys, do you even have a moment to breathe? I'm just curious.
Sometimes July is our moment to breathe, but otherwise, I mean, we've got back to school where we're getting our school-based matches up and running. Then we've got, of course, our 4 events throughout the year. So we've got our Frosty coming up here in November. We've got, our Bowl for Kids' Sake in March, and so we start that in December even. So it's really just one thing after another, but we always just want to make sure that we are out in the community for our fundraisers, but also out in the community for our activities as well.
Now, is it hard, do you get asked this a lot, about how many volunteers do you guys roughly have? I mean, do you have a hard number on that, or a guesstimation, or?
Yeah, we get anywhere from like 250 to 300 is about how many matches. I think last year after our 100 Bigs in 100 Days, I think we hit definitely over that 300. But now, we've had some matches that have closed because volunteers have moved or littles move and things like that. But we usually stay between that 250 and 300.
Now, I'm pretty sure people know, but just in case someone maybe is not familiar, could you kind of share with us a little bit about the bigs and the littles and kind of like the match process and everything?
Sure. So with our bigs and littles are kids in the community who are facing adversity. So we see a really wide range of that. We see single parent households, we see low income households. We see kids who have both parents, they're not low income, but they're struggling in school. They're getting bullied, they're having a hard time making friends. We have at least a couple of kids who are on the autism spectrum, and so that's their adversity, is they need somebody they can relate to, be that support system. So once we've got our littles, then we have volunteers, and we match based on personality, how they'll fit together. We want to make the best match. So sometimes our littles wait a little while to wait for that perfect match, but it's always worth it in the end to have that really good connection that we can build. But our volunteer commitment's only 1 year, and it's 1 hour once a week. And
Wow.
so it's always so easy to find that 1 hour, like, you have a lunch hour, you can go eat with them at the school. You've got, after school, you've got a Sunday afternoon, like, there's so much time that you can find that 1 hour once a week. It's pretty cool.
Definitely. And tell me this, is there a certain age limit for the volunteers? Is there, because correct me if I'm wrong, don't you have a big and little program for high school students?
We do. So with high school kids, if they don't have a driver's license yet, we actually have a bus route. So Durham School Services is really cool, and they donate a bus route for us. So they pick them up from the high school and drive them to, right now we do it at Oakdale, because it's kind of one of them that has our most littles at it. And so they drive them to Oakdale, and then they pick them up after they've been there for an hour and drop them back off at the school. So really, as long as our littles are in high school, we can make it work with the bus route. But we also service El Saline and Southeast of Saline, and we've got programs there as well. So really, once you hit kind of like 14, 15, you can be able to volunteer, and then we don't have an upper limit. We have some volunteers that are 60 and 70 years old, and they're some of our best volunteers.
Wow. Now, how long has the Salina chapter of Big Brothers Big Sisters been around?
We're actually coming up on our 50-year anniversary, so that's really cool. So next year we're hoping to have like a really big celebration and really highlight the fact that we've been impacting the community for as long as we have. So we're really excited.
and you said too, it's amazing, just 1 hour a week. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and what an impact on the kiddos' lives. I mean, that's just so huge. And do you ever find, in years past, I've often heard people that volunteer, they talk about, though they're giving their time, they often feel like they receive even more. Do you find that your bigs say that a lot of times when working with the littles?
I do. I hear that a lot, you know, because we talk to the bigs, you know, either when their matches are closing, but we talk to them throughout the whole process. And so we always ask, you know, what are you getting out of it? You know, how do you feel like it could be improved? And they all say, like, they feel like they are making a huge difference to these kids. They love the impact that they're making, and they feel like they're making a difference. And a lot of our staff are actually bigs as well. Currently, 3 of our staff are bigs, and then one's a former big. So her big graduated, and she's like, okay, I got him through high school. That's what I needed to do. But I know each one of us feels like we are making a difference, and even if we didn't work at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we would still volunteer because we love it.
That is so cool. You know, I have found through the years that, especially with nonprofits, it seems to me that, in my opinion anyway, that people that work for nonprofits do so much more. I mean, you obviously care about your organization because it's your job, but it's more than that. And it's just so cool that you just said that so many of your staff, you know, coworkers, they are bigs themselves and would do it regardless of whether they work there or not. That's great.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. It's such a good experience, and it makes it a lot easier because I handle all our volunteers. So I do their interviews, make sure that they're a good fit for our program, and I help match them. So I'm really able to help answer their questions of, you know, well, what do you do with your little? Well, with my little, this is what I do. And it really helps be able to relate and say, oh, you have a little? So how really is the experience? And they feel like they can really trust your answer because you're in the same shoes as they are.
Now, when the bigs and the littles have their outing, and it could be anything to like bowling to making a craft, going on a walk, or where I'm assuming just there's unlimited possibilities, right, as far as the activities. Are the parents a part of it, or is it just that time with the big and the little, just the 2 of them?
Yeah, we try and do that one-on-one mentoring. So the parents are involved in terms of they approve match activities. You know, we definitely want to make sure that they've got those strict parents, they've got those flexible parents, and we definitely respect all parenting styles. We definitely encourage the bigs to run everything by the parent, always schedule through the parent. But then otherwise, it's just the one-on-one mentoring. Sometimes that very first time they meet, the parent will come along just to kind of make sure that the little feels comfortable, everything like that. But most of the time, those littles are like, nope, I'm ready to go. I want to go hang out with my big. I don't need you. I'll see you later.
That is so awesome.
And so then it's kind of nice because then the parents get to hear about this whole new experience when they get home, and they get to hear how excited their kids are when they go.
Do you have any way of knowing, is there like a particular activity that's really popular with the bigs and littles, or does it just depend on the big and little?
It really kind of depends. We do have a Great Outdoors mentoring program. So whenever they spend time outside, it can be going on walks, it can be going fishing, it can be anything. It's all worth different points. And then we've got prizes at our office. So we've got t-shirts, we've got water bottles, you know, we've got all that, we've got free coupons for stuff. So I know a lot of them try and hang out outside and participate in that program. But I know a lot of them go to the movies, which is actually really cool. With AMC, we've got a discount with them. So when our big buys their ticket, the little gets theirs free.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we have a ton of community partners that we have actually created a whole discount list of all the places in the community that the bigs can go and receive discounts, just to kind of help as a, hey, you know, you're doing this, so here's a perk to kind of help pay for this outing. So we have a lot of them that go to the movies and use that discount.
That is awesome. So if I come in your office or I call you and I'm like, hey, Miss Kaitlyn, I'm interested in being a big, what are the steps? What do I need to do?
So first you fill out the application. So you can go on our website. It's really easy to find. So it's just www.bbbssalina.org. And then from there, I actually give you a call. And so we set up an interview. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes. It's pretty quick, but it just helps me get to know your personality, your interests, why you're interested in the program, what you're looking to get out of the program. And with that interview, I can kind of weed out those people that this isn't really what they want to do. They just want something for their resume, things like that. But it really helps give me a good idea to help pick out their little. So after the interview, I work with my coworker, LaKrista, because she intakes all of our littles. And we get together and we say, okay, I've got this big and I know this about them. You've got all the littles. And we work together to find about 3 to 4 littles that they can pick from. Some agencies don't let the bigs pick their little, and the agency picks for them. but we really like to let our bigs pick because then they feel that investment of, hey, I picked this little, I'm owning this decision, this is what I have chosen. And then that way they can really feel a part of the process.
That is so cool. So it doesn't take very long as far as the interview and all that, just not very long at all.
No, usually within about 3 weeks, I can have bigs in and matched.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, so your 50th anniversary is coming up next year. Okay, and you already surpassed your goal, right, with 100 bigs?
Yes.
And 100 days, right? So where do you go from here? Because you have some pretty high standards, right?
Right. So now we're kind of focused a little less on recruiting. We're definitely still intaking because we've got over 100 kids on our wait list.
Oh, wow.
So we're still intaking, trying to get those volunteers in, but we're trying to focus a little more on what can we do to help create quality matches. So we want to make sure that every match is, getting along well, that they're consistently seeing each other, that they're both enjoying the program. So we're trying to focus a little more on consistency, and we're also creating different programs. Last year we created Bigs in Blue with the police department. So even Chief Brad Nelson is one of our bigs.
Oh, how cool.
And so we've decided to continue that this year. So kind of continuing on that program and continuing to make different quality matches and kind of finding those different groups in Salina that we can kind of bring in and say, okay, yeah, we can definitely make this work for you and your organization. So we're focused a little more on quality matches and creating new programs as opposed to all these new volunteers at once.
Now, have you found, I know you said it's only a year commitment, but have you found in your experience that the connections made with the big and the little and that it's longer than just the year? I mean, unless they graduate from high school or something.
A lot of times it is. A lot of them, they go straight past that year. We've got some matches that have been 8 and 10 years long.
Wow.
Because there's no cap on how long you can be matched for. So we definitely have those long matches, and then even the shorter ones, they still keep in touch with their littles. We have a lot of bigs that go off to college, and some of them, they'll give their letter, or like their address to their little, so they can be pen pals and write letters while they're at college, and they try and see them on the weekends. So their matches close because they don't both live in Salina, but they're still able to connect and see each other and still kind of be a mentor.
That is so cool. Now, I know you mentioned your website for them to go online, but real quickly, if somebody would be watching this and say, hey, I would like to be a big, what can I do? Could you real quick give them just a little recap of the contact information so they could get plugged in?
Sure. So again, it's just our website, so www.bbbssalina.org, or they can also call our office, which is 785-825-5509. And they can ask for me or really anybody. We all are aware of the organization, what all's required, everything like that. So they can talk to anybody at the office, but we'd be happy to talk to them and tell them a little bit more about the program and how it could be a good fit for them.
That is so cool. Now, I know it always amazes me as far as time. It always feels like it just always zooms on by. But you'd mentioned this earlier because you guys have a lot of different things like the Frosty 5K. Tell me about that because that's pretty cool. Though I'm not a runner and I would like to be kind of, but tell me about that. Is that like I'm assuming it's open to the community, but do bigs and littles participate in that as well?
They do. So our bigs get to run for half price and then our littles get to run for free. So we really want to encourage all of our matches to get involved. But it's every year in November, and it's actually the second part in a series. So we had the Glow in the Park back in April, and they got half of a medal. And then now if they run the Frosty, they'll get the other half, and it actually links together to make a whole medal.
Oh my gosh.
So it's pretty cool.
How long have you guys been doing that? That's awesome.
We just did the series for the first time last year, but we've been doing the Frosty for about the past 6 years. But the Glow Run was new last year, but we're like, hey, our Frosty goes over so well. Everybody complains about how cold it is. Why don't we do another fun run, combine them together to where which now it's ended up being raining for most of our Glow Runs, both years, but at least it's not cold and rainy.
That's right, that is right. That is so cool that there's so many ways to get involved. And I think it's awesome too that it doesn't matter your interest, that your organization really works really well to match the big and the little. That's so awesome. What a great opportunity, and sometimes I've often heard with working with young people that it's like planting seeds. What a great seed to plant, and what great mentorship. And I'm sure you guys just have oodles of statistics about how just the benefits and everything. I mean, I'm sure we could probably have another show just about that, which is good, and we should think about that. But How cool is that? And real quickly, how many people did you say are in your office? Because it's pretty small, isn't it?
Right, we only have 5. So we're actually just getting a new CEO. So our previous one just left. Today actually was her last day.
Oh.
So we're getting a new CEO starting here in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
So it'll be fun to see how things might change a little bit. We might change up some events. We might change up some of our programs because new leadership always has a lot of catalysts for change and how you can improve and things like that. But we've got a staff of 5, and then we've got 2 part-time people through Kansas Works.
Awesome. And real quick before we wrap up, tell me about, and I know that I've driven by and I know that I've seen you in, I don't want to say dumpster, but the receptacle for donations.
Yeah.
Do tell me about that, because you are this petite thing and I've seen you in there and I'm just like, wow. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, we started the donation center. So it was actually my first big job when they hired me. They're like, okay, you're going to be in charge of this donation center. And I said, okay. So once a month, we have a truck come from Kansas City, and they pick up all our donations that we collect. We've gotten about 8 bins now all around town, so we've got so many different locations. We actually had to hire somebody part-time to start emptying our bins.
Wow.
'Cause at first it was just us, and we're like, we can't do this, there's so much donations. So we completely fill our donation center once a month, and we get it off to Kansas City to help fundraise the money, and then 100% of that profit comes back to Salina.
Wow. And what kind of things can people donate?
They can donate pretty much anything, like obviously not paint and huge furniture, things like that. Cloth is definitely the best, so like, you know, whether it be blankets, clothes, anything like that. But we can take shoes, we can take home decorations, we can take pretty much anything, as long as it's not like perishable, toxic, things like that.
Wow. I'm just trying to think, is there anything you guys do not do? Holy cow.
Yeah, we do a lot. Anything new and inventive that we can try, we are always game for it.
Well, it's so awesome. You know, they say a lot of things about the camera, that it, you know, does this or that, but passion is something that it definitely picks up on. And it's so rewarding to see you talk about your love for the organization and what an impact it's making in our community. And that's why I think one of the many reasons why Salina is so successful is we have people like yourself and your organization just connecting, you know, and just making a difference. So I am just so glad you came today, and you have to come back. I know I'm asking you on camera, no pressure, right? But because again, you guys always have great events, and who knows, probably some new things down the road. You never know, right?
Hopefully, we'll have to see.
Definitely. But thank you so much, Kaitlyn, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you all so much for watching. This is Strictly Salina. Thank you so much.